Good morning, it's me, Mr. Truman, back again for another video in geometry. Today we're going to be looking at the equation of a circle. We're going to be trying to figure out how to write the equation, given some information, and then we're also going to be looking at a diagram of a circle and writing the equation. This is going to be a two-part, maybe even three-part video because we have three different things that we look at with the equation of circles. So this is part one, just the basics of how to write the equation of a circle. So we're going to look at our formula. And it is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, which has got to look really crazy to you right now. But let's think of it in terms of Pythagorean theorem. A squared, b squared, and c squared. And the reason we have those minus signs is when we do Pythagorean theorem, we calculate the change going across, left to right. And I always call that the A, the left to right is A. The distance or the change up and down, that's our B value. And then C is that diagonal. Well, this works with a circle. This is basically your distance across the page, up the page, and then this is your diagonal, which ends up being our radius. Now, those minus signs represent change. We're talking about a change in position. That's why we need to make sure those negative signs stay there when we write our equation. They can be changed to positive signs when our values are negative, and I'm going to explain that in a moment. So when we go to do this, let me give you a sample problem, just your basic problem, already worked out, and I just want to let you know, like, if I have x minus 5 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 49, well, again, because the formula has a minus sign, that tells me that the center is actually 5 positive. And when it has a plus sign, well, a minus and a minus make it a plus. So let's just try to remember in the most simplest terms that things that are in parentheses lie to us. It's lying to us. If it says it's positive, it's really negative. And if it says it's negative, it's really positive. I don't know how to break it down any lower than that. Let's just stick to the basics. It lies to us in parentheses. That's what I've told kids plenty of times in Algebra 1 when we did this. With parabolas and things like that, just remember the one in parentheses is lying to you about its sign. It's really the other one. So with that being said, this is a 5, and then our is a negative 3, and then our radius is whatever the square root of the last number is. So in this case, it's 49. So the square root of 49 is 7. So think of this as like Pythagorean theorem: 5 across, 3 up, and then square across. All right. So let's try to write the equation of the circle. And remember what I just said about being in parentheses. If my center is at 8, 9, and I have a radius of 7, then my formula is going to be x minus 8, parentheses squared, plus y minus 9, parentheses squared, equals 7 squared, which is 49. Because we have to square that. So if it helps you, write it down the first time like this. And say, all right, 7 squared, and then you can go back and say, all right, well, 7 squared is 49. All right, well, let's see what we do when we have something like this. Here the center is at -2, 0. So if I start that off, I'm going to write it as is, and then I'm going to show you how things turn into positives. So the formula says x minus -2 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 12 squared. Well, I can clean that up a little bit because, for example, I learned a long time ago that a minus or a negative times two negatives in a row make a positive. So I know that this is why this is becoming a positive, because the value is negative. I also know that there's no point of writing y minus 0. So the way we're going to write this, and we're going to see this in equations, is like this. Simply no parentheses. So get used to seeing that. When you have a 0 as part of yours, you're just going to have x or y. And then the last part is 144. Okay, our last and final one that has to do with this, let's look at this one here. I have a center at 0, 0, 5, and my radius is the square root of 19. So again, I'm going to write this out as is, and then we'll just clean it up afterwards. And let's see what we get. So like I said on the last one, x minus 0 just gives you x squared. This has to stay the way it is, so we got y minus 5. And then what happens when we square a square root? Well, the square and the square root are inverse operations and they cancel each other and we just get 19. So we're going to see a couple problems like that on our assignment today. All right, and our very last problem is, what do we do if we're given the equation of a circle? Can we write the equation? Absolutely. Or, I'm sorry, we given a graph of a circle, can we write the equation? Absolutely. First and foremost, all we got to do is figure out where's the center. So in this case, if I count starting at the origin and I find the center, it's over 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's down 2. So I'm setting my center at -4, or +4, my bad, -2. And then the other thing I need to know is my radius. Well, I can count that. All I got to do is remember that radius is the distance from the center to the edge in any direction. It doesn't matter. So if I just simply count, I don't know, count upwards. 1, 2, 3. So I go back and I can take this information and write it into the equation of a circle, and it would be x minus 4 squared, y plus 2 squared equals 9. So again, all I had to do was I started at the origin, I found my center, I wrote it into the equation, and then I make sure to count my radius, and I could count this way, this way, this way, this way. I would not recommend trying to count diagonally because you guys all know at this point you can't do that. All right, on our last one, let's see. I see my center is at over 0, up 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at 0, 4. So already I can tell you the first part of the problem is, and all I got to do now is find the center. Well, again, count in any direction. I can count down, count up. I think I'll count down this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I get 25. All right, I hope this helps. I hope everybody gets their work done, and I hope we don't have too many questions. Bye.